Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about my interview experience of Accenture for ASE position, that is Associate Software Engineer position. Before start, I would like to thank Anshul and techandtarget for providing such a great content to us. It consists of all the information about job, internship, exam pattern, and interview experiences. Before my interview session, I joined techandtarget and it really helped me a lot. So moving on with the interview experience. That was an interview based on 2:1 ratio. That is, there were two interviewers, and they introduced me first about their job profile in Accenture and what kind of work they were doing in Accenture. And then they asked me whether I was nervous or not. And then they asked me about myself. So the first question was, tell me about yourself. And this you have to explain your education in chronological order, your technical skills, your hobbies, your interest, and your summer internship. Then they just stick up to my resume and asked so many questions from that only. They were focusing more on my summer internship as compared to my technical skills. There was no technical question in this interview, and all of it was quite based on an HR interview. So they asked me about my internship, which was based on IoT, and then they asked about my internship projects and as well as my university projects. There was one project of my summer internship. They asked about the drawbacks of that particular project and future implementation of that project. And there was one university project which was quite basic. So they asked me if they asked me to do some changes in that particular project, then how I am going to handle that situation. And they asked me if I did all my projects in a team or alone. And then they asked me that how my mentors acknowledged my projects, what kind of changes they asked me to do, and what they liked in my project. And then they asked me that how do I handle team conflicts? Means if my team members is not agreeing on some particular thing, then how I am going to convince them. So they asked me to explain both the situation, that what I'm going to do. If I'll be able to convince them, then how I'm going to do that. And if I'm not going, or not, I'll be able to convince them that how I'm going to handle that particular situation. So they asked me about this. And then they asked me if I work as a team leader or as a team player in any group project. So I told them that I was a group leader in all my projects, and I also did some leadership thing in my school time. So if you are asked this question, then explain this with a particular practical example. So it will be very good. And then they asked me that if I consider myself as a good leader because I mentioned leadership quality in my resume. So they asked me about this. And then at last they asked me which subject I don't like and why, and what I should do to create some interest in that particular subject. So this question was quite tricky because at that particular moment you are not going I was not able to answer that question properly because I was quite confused at which subject should I name. And so this was quite confusing question. So be prepared with the answer. And then at the end they asked me if I was having any query. Then I asked about my work in that particular profile, and how the work atmosphere is there in Accenture and all that. So it was quite interactive session. You have to answer confidently, and that's it. So this is all about my Accenture ASC interview. Thank you.